Hello, Adab, Namaste. Welcome to India's Business Legends. Today we've come to meet the founder of Excitel, Mr. Vivek Raina, who has established a brand which has got about billion users. It's present across 7 states and with a turnover of 600 CR. Let's meet him and know more about him. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Vivek, you come from Kashmir,
That's right.
the paradise on earth.
That's right.
How was the experience there?
Well, I spent my formative years in Kashmir, as you rightly said. I was born and brought up in Srinagar. I was there till the age of 12, 13. And in 1990, we had to move out. But yes, it was an idyllic childhood, so to say. It's not conceivable in our modern Indian big cities, the type of childhood I had, because the sense of space there was overwhelming. I mean, you had so much space
Right.
to grow in. What do I mean by that? The houses were very, very big. I mean, not just ours, every house was big. You had a lawn on front, you had a kitchen garden at the back. Then outside your home also, there were parks, there were gardens, there are lakes to swim in, there's river. You will go hiking every now and then, camping every now and then. So the sense of adventure, sense of being connected to nature, and sense of space overall, that sort of shaped your perspective, was something that I cherish still. And also, the crime rates were the lowest probably in the country. So there was no issue of going out at night and coming late at home. No issue at all for anybody. So yeah, it's an idyllic. I can now say in retrospect that it was an idyllic childhood. And yeah, nothing better than that.
And then 1990 happened. You had to move from that. That's probably one of the saddest event in the history, wherein a lot of people moved from that space and they were literally living like refugees. How was it moving from such a beautiful space to cramped refugee quarters that you were given?
Yeah, well, it happened all of a sudden in the sense that there was no sort of building up in that sense. You didn't really realize when it happened because it happened very, very fast. I mean, I remember a week or 2 weeks before this happened, we moved. Some of my relatives moved and they wanted me to go with them. And they were laughed at our home. Come on, he's not going. He has tuition and he has school. And no, you go. He's not going. They said, no, we'll go for a month or so, and by the time it's safe, we'll come back. And we said, no, we're not going. But after 2 weeks, we also left.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was sense of fear and sense of uncertainty that was looming large at that point of time, and yeah, fear basically. And all of us thought that okay, fine, this might go away in, let's say, 2-3 months. By the time Indian summer comes in, we'll come back.
Right.
And yeah, so that was the thing while going. And also it was like a holiday we were going. For me, because I was still a kid, I mean, I was like 11 or 12, I would say. For me, it was a holiday. Okay, going to Jammu in winter was a normal thing for us Kashmiris.
Right.
Going to Jammu and Delhi was a normal thing, because it was quite cold there in winters. So it was another trip to Jammu for me, and for which I was excited initially. And then when we landed up there in one room, we were not in refugee camp per se. We had a small rented room, like 12 by 12 room in which we were living. And we landed up there with some basic utensils or something that we bought with us. And after a few days, it started, sort of creeping in, whatever we landed up into and what is happening.
Right.
And then it got extended and extended, and then the summer came. And the summer was a revelation because we didn't understand summer. Summer for us was a very nice time in Kashmir. When you could go out, have fun all through the day and so on and so forth, play without any restriction and so on and so forth. But summer in mainland India is something else. You know what it is. It's 45 degrees of temperature.
Delhi
and
is
same
boiling.
as Jammu, and it was very, very, very hot. Yeah, coming back to Indian summer. And then finally summer came in Jammu, and most of us didn't realize what it's all about and how to even sort of exist in such a weather.
Right.
For us, again, I remember in Kashmir you would have those pedestal fans, table fans. My mother had got one dowry, and for 12 months, like 10 months in a year, you would keep it under wrap. For 2 months, you would put it in one room, and then also this fan would face usually the wall, and then from that you would get some air, because directly it was too exposure hota hai, bolte the log. नहीं, direct fan नहीं लगाओ.
Okay.
And then in one room probably we had a ceiling fan, again used for 1 month in a year. And now in Jammu, fan doesn't work at all. Fan is nothing. I mean, nothing happens with the fan when it's 45 degrees.
True.
And basically I'm saying that we didn't know how to react. We didn't know what it means to witness Indian summer. And not just us, I think I know at least 20 people who died of sunstroke in Jammu. I know personally around 20 people who died in sunstroke. Because see, at 12, at 1 during the day in Kashmir, you go out and do your work.
Right.
12 to 4. Here, 12 to 4, you stay in. You don't go out because you get sunstroke.
True.
And I know at least, I said, my mother's friend and my father's few relatives, they all died of sunstrokes in Jammu because of this. And it took them a year to understand different seasonal patterns of mainland India. That then there will be barsats where this rain will not stop. We didn't have monsoons in Kashmir. There's no monsoon. There's no there is spring, summer, autumn and winter, and you're prepared for all these seasons. And here it was completely different. And yeah, that took its toll. And added to that fact that we didn't have facilities. We're not prepared, and we didn't have facilities like today. ACs were unheard of.
Right.
Coolers were a thing which we didn't realize what it is, and then finally we bought coolers next year. But yes, it was a time of hardship. It was time of realization that nothing's permanent. Life can be very, very difficult. And I think probably that also helped in shaping my personality. I think such events must shape personality of people who undergo such events.
They do.
And probably it happened to me also, and I realized that what is so obvious and what is so apparent and what is so normal to you in your life may be taken away. And therefore, create something that stays with you all the time.
So with the financial situation changing, did it impact your education as well?
No, I mean, my father was a government employee, so he kept on getting salary in Jammu also. They called it migrant salary, so they would pay salary to him without work. And what happened was that your environment changed. And okay, he could afford, now that he had to rebuild the life from start. We didn't even realize for first 3 years that we had to rebuild the life. First 3 years was like we are going back sometime.
You're waiting to
go
back.
back. And then after 2-3 years, we realized that it's now difficult, and because the violence was not stopping and hemming in Kashmir, it was continuing. So then we realized it's too difficult to go back. Probably, sell what you have there and start looking for flats or houses somewhere in mainland India. And that's when there was a break of 2-3 years before we thought of even rebuilding our lives. After that he had to rebuild entire household. It was a difficult situation, but then I think education was something that they would not compromise on. I think it's sort of ingrained in the community that education is something. It was also always in Kashmir also. While they would give you leverage or leeway till you are like 12, 13, and but as soon as you are near that 10th exam, so they would put enormous pressure on you.
And they wanted you to become doctors and engineers.
Doctors and engineers were the only thing that you could become at that point of time, and most of my fellow friends or relatives became doctors or engineers, because there was no other thing primarily which they saw as doing something important. Yeah. So having said that, I think the pressure of education was always there, and the pressure of getting educated in spite of all that had happened remained. I think it only increased in Jammu. In Kashmir, they would still give you some respite and say, okay, koi baat nahi, padega nahi to kuch kar lenge. But in Jammu, it was like relentless pressure from parents, from relatives, from everybody that no, now only thing you've got is education. Get educated, get job, restart your life and rebuild your life. I think yeah. So education as such didn't have an issue. It will be bad to say that. But yes, people who couldn't even afford that, because see, my father was a government employee and not everybody was a government employee. I think 70% of Kashmir, 60-70% of Kashmir Pandit didn't have a government employee into home, and they were farmers, mostly people from villages. They were farmers. They had orchards. They were living luxurious and palatial life in their villages. But suddenly they had nothing. People who were farmers or were involved in horticulture. For them, it was bigger shock. I think we were living in city. We moved from one city to the next. Okay, in very bad condition and very bad, but still we used the city.
Right.
People who were not used to city and were living in those, idyllic Kashmiri village. It's out of this world. You have streams and you have mountains and you have orchards, and suddenly from that they are coming to a refugee camp.
Right.
For them, it was really bigger shock, I would say, compared to people living in city. Not sort of underrating the pain for everybody, but I'm saying for them it was a cultural as well as for them even Srinagar was far off. They would come once in a month or once in say 3 months or 4 months, 5 months to Srinagar, and it was also it's a dingy place, city. We don't like it. We have such space in our villages. But then suddenly in the refugee camp, for them it must have been much more traumatic. And and they didn't have livelihood, so they were given some relief and they would get some dole from the government and some ration probably. For them it was difficult to even get proper education to the children. For them there were camp schools then. Government opened schools in the camps. Under a tent they were studying, and I think from there also this thing of still putting in effort and studying while in the tent and while in the camp, I think it was ingrained. Right. Yeah. So I'm saying, while it was difficult to study, but the pressure from community and pressure from parents to do well in spite of odds, and because of odds to do more better than before was always there, and I think it worked.
So when and how did you decide that you don't want to be a doctor or an engineer, but you want to do something of your own?
After doing my engineering, so before that, while I was studying, I think in 11th, 12th, I understood that I'm very good at literature and philosophy. I think philosophy is my forte.
Okay.
I still consider I would have done much better for my fellow humans or my fellow people had I taken philosophy. I would have contributed better to the society. But that was not an option. My father said, nothing doing. What are you doing? What will you do after studying philosophy? Nothing. There's nothing doing. Study engineering, probably do an MBA and go and be independent and start earning. There was pressure.
Right.
For that. And I finally ended up doing some form of engineering. I don't remember what I studied there still, but and also after that MBA. And I started working for a company. Luckily, the first company I worked in was Hathway Cable and Datacom. This was the first rollout of wireline broadband in the country, year 2001. They had this broadband rollout in South Mumbai and South Delhi, parts of South Delhi and parts of Mumbai. And I was there. Somehow I landed up there. And that's it. That's my start of my
That's how
career.
you
That's my
started.
start of broadband journey. It was by accident. I didn't choose to be in the broadband
So
sphere.
did you think at that point of time that okay, I'll start something of my own, or were you just working
Not in the
because you
first,
wanted a job?
not at the point of time, not at the point of time at all. The first job was I said in this broadband company called Hathway, and I think after 3 years working there, I understood that I understand the ecosystem now. I understand how to do it, and I understand, what are the various nuts and bolts ingredients of this business. And I think rather than think of something else, I can do something in this sphere. And I think it was year 2004 or 3 ending when I thought, okay, why not to do something on my own? And I started looking for people who can fund me. But I'm talking of year 2003. It is pre-startup era in India. There is no concept of angel investors. There's no concept of PE funds or
Right.
so on and so forth. This ecosystem didn't exist. So you have to go to a Lalaji to fund you.
Or bank?
Or a bank loan, yeah. But who will give a bank loan to somebody who is like 2 years experience?
True.
They valued experience, somebody who had done something. So
Right.
I was like 26, 27 and nobody cared. So I went to a friend of mine who's a politician also, who was son of a politician and a businessman in Kashmir. I told him, okay, let's do something together. Let's create a wire and broadband company in Kashmir. Back then, I think, yeah, 2003. And he liked the idea, and we started working on the idea and so on and so forth. And finally, he said, "How much would you what is your power?" I said, "Give me 5% of the business, and I'll do all the legwork. I'll run it. You just invest." But you see, our lalas and our old businessmen, they said
They didn't want to give you 5% also.
his father didn't agree. He said,
Oh.
no, salary is good, whatever salary he asks, but no percentage as such. So I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not. Only if I have some percentage, then it will come. Otherwise, it will not come. So it didn't. We did the basic legwork. We had created the setup, and almost everything was ready. But then I didn't go. I said, no, I cannot go without equity, without having potential upside. Yeah. And it didn't happen, and I joined Reliance instead, Reliance Infocom back then, and which became communication, Reliance Communication.
Right.
Ultimately, from Mukesh Ambani, it went to Anil Ambani. So yeah, I was there for 5 years. And when you are in such a company like Reliance, you don't think of anything else because
Life is set.
Life is set. You're lazy. Salary is coming. Nothing much to do. So I think that laziness crept in me also, and I got married ultimately because of that. Because you had a better brand, so
Right.
better rishtas would come. Because I think that's the only thing that happened in Reliance with me.
So you made good use of that time.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
And in between, after Reliance, I think in 2007-8, I went back to Hathway as regional head for North India. Stayed there for 1.5 to 2 years, and then I went to a company called Digicable. Digicable had an arm called Broadband PaceNet, which was again wire and broadband. And there I got first taste of running things independently, because they said, okay, this is the territory, North and Central India, do whatever you want.
Okay.
It was that kind of a company. They were more focused on cable TV. They said, you run this internet
Right.
yourself. And yeah, that gave me, as I said, first taste of running things independently. I assembled my team fully there, like 50, 60 people from Hathway and from Reliance who were moving with me from one company to another. But here in Digicable, I sort of made a cohesive team of 50 or 60 odd people, and I was there for 5 years, I think. Yeah, from 2009 to 2014, I was there, and that is the company in which I met my potential co-founders. Now these guys are Europeans from Bulgaria, and they had a broadband company in Bulgaria which they had sold off to Deutsche Telekom, and they were now scouting for opportunities around the world and wanted to have a look at India. And they, on my second or third day in Digicable, they landed there.
Okay.
Yeah, so coincidence. And yeah, we exchanged notes, we exchanged ideas, and liked each other, and we stayed in touch. I think we 2010 we met. We didn't have any business together till 2014, but still we became friends, stayed in touch, exchanged notes, and finally 14 end we got our first round of investment from some venture capitalists in Bulgaria itself, and 15 we started Excitel Broadband, and rest is history.
So how much money did you were you able to raise?
Oh yeah, peanuts actually compared to today. It was just 1.5 million euro, which is like 12 crores, 12 crores. Yeah, yeah.
So how did you use that money to build a brand which you wanted to
Yeah,
create into a
so
legacy?
12 crores was the seed money, and so okay, let's talk about the problem we're trying to solve. We were trying to solve back then. Now, wireline broadband, I don't know how much you know about wireline broadband, but wireline broadband, India is among the bottom of all charts. It's among the bottom of even the countries in South Asia. We
Okay.
have just 4 crore connections in the country. Just 4 crore connections for a population of 130 crores. We have done very well in mobile broadband. We have 70 crore people having mobile phones in their home, in their hands,
Right.
and they can access some kind of internet on those mobile phones. But in wireline broadband, Wi-Fi, we have just 4 crore connections. Now this is Airtel, Jio, all telcos put together, all ISPs put together, just 4 crore connections. This per capita penetration of wireline broadband is lower than Bangladesh. It's lower than Nepal even. Forget Malaysia and Indonesia and forget developed countries, forget China. Yeah. So why has this been like this? It's because the way Indian cities are built. What do I mean by that? If you see any Indian cities, for example, Delhi, you're very well aware of Delhi, you'll see that 25-30% of Delhi is structured, well done, having lanes, by lanes, or having multi-story building with shafts. And 70% of it is unorganized, unstructured, unplanned, evolving on its own.
Yeah.
So in this 30% of urban India, it's easy for a wireline operator to run wireline service because you have to ultimately physically pull wire to each and every household.
True.
Yeah. So in structured part, it's easy to do. In unstructured part, it's very, very complicated to do. So all telcos and ISPs are focusing only on this 30%, while 70% was completely untapped.
Okay.
They were not even going there, thinking of going there because it's very complicated to go. There is no place to dig even in these lanes and by lanes. So, and also with the speeds back then, like 512 kbps or 1 mbps, what can you do with such speeds? All you can do is bit of research on internet, check your mail, answer your mail, probably download a movie which would take a day or 2 days to download and then watch a movie. So nothing much you could do. Basically, it was a productivity enhancement tool. You could enhance your productivity through wireline broadband back then. And this productivity enhancement is needed by people, very small percentage of people in the country who want to work at home after coming from work. We understood that unless and until you project wireline broadband as basic driver of entertainment in a household, it's not going to take off. It has to be primary source of entertainment in a household. It has to replace cable TV. Okay. It has to be a video watching system rather than a productivity enhancement tool. So that was the idea. That as soon as you do that, everybody would need it.
Because videos need
everybody
higher
watches
speed.
Yeah, and everybody watches videos. Whether they live in a slum, whether they're unstructured, structured, rich, poor, middle class, lower middle class, everybody wants to watch movies, everybody wants to get entertained after a hard day of work. They want to come home and relax and entertain themselves with videos rather than think about productivity. So, but those speeds were not good enough for that. Yeah, at that point of time, all telcos were giving such speeds, 512 kbps, 1 mbps. That was the norm. And also, how did you consume internet? Before, let's say 2010, the only way to consume internet was a laptop or a desktop.
Right, and we were just Googling information. That
Yeah.
was the basic things
That's
we
the
were
basic
doing.
thing. Yes,
Or
yes,
emailing.
Yes, and also you needed a laptop or a desktop to do
Right,
that.
you did.
And how many people in the city had desktop or laptop? Not in
Not
unstructured area. They didn't. They weren't living not in unstructured area. But then again, smartphones had come, and smartphones became primary source of consuming internet.
Right.
Yeah. So all these things put together, we started Excitel Broadband. We said, let's focus on unstructured urban India, provide them high-speed internet on which they can watch videos, and replace cable TV as primary source of entertainment. Project wireline broadband as a replacement of cable TV as primary source of entertainment in the household, and then you will have a market. Then everybody will want it. Yeah, and that's exactly what we did. When average speed in Delhi, as I said, was 512 kbps, we started a 20 mbps package. Every package had a FUP back then. They would call it fair usage policy, which was very unfair actually. They would sort of penalize you for using internet. If you used more, then they would throttle your speed. No. We thought it doesn't make sense at all. It has to be like cable TV. Pay 500 rupees and watch unlimited.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is exactly what we did. 20 mbps unlimited. and encouraged people to watch videos. Who doesn't watch videos? This is what it's meant for. And it took city by storm. We had our first lakh users in the first year itself.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, 1 lakh users in first year itself. We had promised our investors 30,000. Internally, we thought thinking of 50,000, but we ended up doing 1 lakh in the first year. And yeah, 9 years down the line, we have 10 lakh now.
How did you tackle pulling out cables around unstructured places?
Yeah.
How did you go about that?
Great question. So for that, we had to change the business model. We understood that you see, 70% of all capital investment in this business is in the last mile. Last mile means the last meters of cable.
Excitel competing with big brands like Reliance also, Airtel also, BSNL is also there. How do you take competition and how do you see your competitors?
You see, again, as I said before also, we cannot compete with them.
I hope you had a great time and Vivek's vision of building a company did resonate with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. All
It
right.
was lovely having this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.